bad, is it?
No, it looks alright, doesn't it?
Doing that because they're all curves.
Or masking it up. Yeah. Well, it's starting to look good, alright.
Oh, I can feel the rain.
You're just in time.
Did I time that well or what? That's amazing.
Well, we're having a lazy day. I had quite a big day yesterday, crouched doing the wiring, and so my back's a little bit sore today and I have to pace myself. So it's 11:15 and we've just had a cup of coffee. That's about it for the day. The solar panels now connected to 2 battery banks. I have a house battery bank, which is 3 AGM batteries. That's going to that solar charge controller over there. And then I've got a splitter that is actually a battery switch. So it's got the 1, 2, 1 plus 2 and off on the solar panel wire. So you can direct the solar panels to either this system, the motor system, or both systems, or you can turn it off and you can disconnect any system anywhere and work on it, which is really, really good, you know, to be able to just turn the solar panels off and then start messing around with the wiring. So I feel a lot better having done that. I didn't like working on the panels where they have to block them off and all the rest of it. So I'll show you what I've done. I'll just move this and I'll show you what I've done for the motor panel setup. Okay, right. In this locker we have the new setup here, and you'll see these are the wires coming from the solar panel here, and they come to this switch and also to a splitter at the back here. I just use a nut and a bolt to bolt 3 terminals together so that I've got the negative going that way and another negative going to this setup here. So we've got 2 batteries. This is a dinghy and emergency battery pack with the built-in charge controller in it. I don't know if we can see what's happening here, but it says 13.2 volts there, and yeah, it's charging. And this then connects to these terminals here to put this battery in parallel and make the connection. So this is like a bank now. We've got, I think this is 110 amp hours here, and another, I think this is 20 over here, 10 or 20. So it's got a reasonable size. And then what I did was, this was yesterday, I put this connection in, which is just a household gadget and allows me to push, you can see these are the connectors for these are the connectors here for these terminals here, and so you can take this out and use it on the dinghy if you want to. It's a bit of a job to get the motor off the back, and so it's better to use a little dinghy one if it's possible, but this is an emergency situation. You could pull that off and put it on the dinghy and it will push the dinghy quite well. And you could even take this battery out here and put it in the dinghy too if you really had to. It's just pushed into place and it's quite solidly fitted inside there. And everything just fitted absolutely perfectly. You know, it's like without, if it had been another quarter of an inch, this can just pull out, and that's why I had to put this over here, because if I put it there nothing would have worked. So the way it works is quite good, and this battery can be slid this way. After you take this out, this battery can slide this way and pull out. So it's as compact a use of space as possible. Now I still need to extend this because this doesn't fit all the way to here, but it needs a special what do they call it, a reset circuit breaker here, and so it needs to be cut for that. So it's going to be cut, circuit breaker put in and extended so that it's the right length, and then it's perfectly the right length. Now the other thing is, I'll just move these to one side, these are the connectors for this unit here, so you just unplug those and take this out. And to do any work on here, you can just turn this to the off position, which is pointing downwards here. That turns everything off, or you can just turn it to the number 1 position, which sends everything to the other panel. Okay, so as soon as I turn that to there, I can start unplugging these wires here and start removing stuff, take the battery out, and so on. So that's the system for the moment. Now I do have some more AGMs which I'd like to hook up to here, and I've got some wire for that can be wired into here, and I'm going to look at maybe putting some more batteries under the floor, or possibly on this side or under here, but that's a job for the future really. At the moment I can now test the motor. We're actually all operational on the motor, and I won't hook it up, but it's working really good and it's pretty solidly mounted here. You'll see that I've got these ropes here, and they triangulate the forces on the motor, so it's actually not as much pressure, if you like, on the mounting bracket, which is not as substantial as I'd like it to be, but this should be fine, should work fine. Okay, and all tidy again. Yeah, I was, on the previous video I said that I was thinking of taking the engine out and putting the batteries where the engine is, and I've ceased to do that, yet I have disabled, you can't use the engine, the starter motor is disabled, disconnected, and I've taken out the starting battery out, which is down here next to on the side of the engine, and I've put one of the big AGMs in its place, so the engine is not going to be running again until maybe it could be a winter project to look at that. It depends how I feel, it depends how well the testing of the trolling motor goes as to whether I continue to take the diesel out and replace that with electric motor. And so we're ready for our test really. There's still a few jobs need to be done on the boat. what is it? Well, there's no sails on it for the moment, so we need to hoist all those up and make sure that everything's working. The rig, I'm changing the way the main sheet works at the back here, so I need to sort that out. And we've still got some more repair work to do on our keel. There's a little bit there. Oh, and our railings, they need sorting out. I can't think of anything else. There must be something. Anyway, it will all happen in a matter of course, and so perhaps there's not as many jobs to do as I thought. Oh, there's a little bit of varnishing left. This has to be varnished. I bought some terrible stain. It's highly poisonous and I haven't been able to find it. I put it somewhere, I haven't been able to find it. And so if I don't find it soon, I'm going to be varnishing it without using it and writing off the stain to experience. Watch out what you buy if things are too poisonous. It's not good to use things that are poisonous when you can use things that aren't poisonous. With the epoxy, it's a bit difficult because the epoxy is critical down there on the keel, and to get the best bonding strength, it's better to use epoxy resin than polyester resin, and so that's why we're using the very toxic epoxy on the keel. Okay. Oh yes, and what I did mention was we have the other solar panel that we have to mount on the side there so that it swings up and down. We don't have enough brackets to actually pivot it up and down. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. And then there's the AIS system and the steering binnacle, which is going inside here. We have the aerial mounted over here now, and I'm picking up calls from boats, but I'm not hearing the replies, so it's obviously the replying station is too far away. Anyway, when we get on the ocean we'll find out how this thing works. I'm not too much bothered about VHF calling or receiving, really. Not bothered at all about it. Just waiting for these to dry now. We do the other side. Well, it's the end of the day, and we ended up managing to do quite a bit today. I got all of the, this is all varnished, and in the other section there's another couple of big pieces of wood that needed varnishing both sides, and so we got the varnishing finished. And it was a really good day for doing varnishing, and I noticed another boat was also doing varnishing work today, so this must have been the day for varnishing. It wasn't too hot and the rain held off, and it was just right for varnishing. So I'm sure I did something else, but I can't remember what it was. So we've got some good weather coming up, and so that good, dry, not windy weather will be good for probably for finishing off the fiberglassing work. So tomorrow I'll probably do the AIS system. We'll see how we get on. There's also the solar panel, The brackets for that need drilling. Oh, I had a go at the drilling stainless steel, and there's just no way. I got brand new drills. I tried a few different drills. Just no way you're going to get drills through this stuff. And so I made another arrangement to not attach the wood of the outboard bracket to the metal. I just drilled a hole in the wood and tied it on so that if it falls off, you don't lose it. It's not going to fall off. It's all held on by the motor. The motor clamps it on. It's not the ideal situation. There's no way that that thing's going to get drilled. It's just too hard. Too difficult. And I'm not going to make anything out of stainless steel ever again. Aluminium isn't so bad to drill, but stainless steel, oh, that thick stuff, never again. Okay. I've been having a cup of coffee and I've been watching my YouTube channel of my trip to Falmouth and around there, and I've been enjoying it. Enjoying my own filming, just to get back into the idea of sailing, because it's not far away now where this little boat is going in the water. And it's funny, it's the middle of summer but it's freezing cold today, and I'm glad I've got a little boat, because if I make a cup of coffee, the boat's small enough, it actually warms up the air and it's not as cold. And so it was probably the coldest night we've had for some time last night, and it's June, nearly July. So it's crazy situation really. And so it's always important to take your warm clothing with you in England wherever you go, because it can get cold. And today, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. The AIS unit needs doing. All this is now varnished and probably needs another coat really, but probably be alright for this year. I'll sand it properly next year and do another coat. So it's not necessary to do everything to perfection all at once. You can work on it slowly over time. And that's what's been happening to this little boat. It's been just gradually improving bit by bit here and there, and it's a joy to be in now. You can look up and see shiny woodwork. It's quite good. So this has been a real boon. I just love using this object here. In a few days' time, that's a bit of concern for me, because I have no... You can adjust it, move it, and it feels really good to use. And so that's my little boat sailing away around the Hook of Cornwall. So the objects that you touch and use are very important. Like this object here, you use all the time, and so it's actually the head of a tripod, and I bought the head that came with my tripod. I got a rather good tripod, yet I also bought a fluid head, which is a head that's designed for movie making, and so I ended up with two heads, and this one I'm using for my navigation system. And the other good thing is you can just take this off here, and then you can hold it and use it in your hand. It stops your back getting, or you can just chuck it in if you're watching a movie or something like that. You can just chuck it in, position it where you want to, and relax and sit back and watch. And so it's rather a good object, so I can highly recommend this as an approach to this. And it's a solid metal object. It's not going to break or anything. The only thing is this part is plastic that holds it in. Well, hopefully I've got a spare one of those. There's one up here, so if that breaks I have got a spare. Oh. Here we are in the sunken lounge, waiting for the weather to improve, waiting for our body to move and find out what we do next. which hopefully I'll video before the end of the day. We don't understand it at all. Not at all. Well, it's a bit of a disaster area in here, but we now have our AIS installed. And I decided to put it over here because there's warning lights on it, flashing lights, and if you're going to diagnose any issue, it's better to have it where you can see it. And so it's got its lights underneath here, but it's also switched on here. You can see the light here. I wired it to this switch. This one was wired to the light originally, but this it's already got a switch on the light. I didn't know whether it would have a switch or not. So we've got this switch now. Instead of it being two switches on the light, we've got this switch for the AIS unit here. And if we come over here, we'll see that we have one ship, and over here just right next to us, and we're lucky to have him too, because normally there's nobody here with AIS, or not on anyway, and this big ship came in to our little dry dock area here, and so I'm able to test this to see that it's working, but it won't be on the internet and this at the same time. And I went to check, double check that there aren't other ships around using the marine traffic application on the internet, and this is the only one in this area, so we can't really test how far our area works. I think it should be okay. We should pick up ships in the immediate vicinity. So we'll all go with the AIS. Well, we've painted the white edge there of the deck, and just one side is it's too hot. I must remember to take that masking tape off. Goodness me, terrible stuff. Hot as blazes on this tin roof. Flipping heck. This is where it came off of.
Yes, just here.
Up the corner there, yeah. Flipping heck. So you got the shaft out and ready to...
Good, it's there.
Oh, you...
So now it doesn't look so scary.
No.
Those are the trims. So that was the state the old ones were in.
These
yeah.
this stuff.
That's what we replaced, yeah. That was this.
My God, yeah.
So it made a big difference already.
Yeah, it's great. It's good, isn't it?
And yeah, this is pretty nice, strong bit.
It makes you, when everything looks new, it makes you feel good about your boat. You know?
Yes,
I mean, we
definitely.
put these on and I was like, oh, the rest of the boat looks
Oh,
so
that's
stroppy
nice.
now.
It's got like woodpeckers on it or something.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
And I put them on and I was like, oh, the rest of the boat looks terrible now. And then, yeah, Liz gave me some pink stuff and I cleaned up the edges.
I better spin this around just so that we get that on the camera, because that's like really quite nice. You give people a few ideas just to be creative with this stuff.
I've never seen any kind of ornate woodwork on a non-wooden boat for some reason. So I thought, yeah.
Yeah, this is what we're doing here, is actually making, it's the best of both worlds, you know. You're taking the modern materials and the old materials and the best of it, you know. If you like woodwork, where you can see it, and fiberglass where you don't want to be touching it, you know?
Yeah. I want as much wood as possible in here. I'm going to have a wooden floor down in here, wood on the seats. Make it feel like a wooden boat, even though it's a plastic boat. That'll be nice. Yeah. And pointless decoration wherever possible, as long as you're not going to catch yourself on it.
Yeah, that's really nice. That woodpecker heaven down there.
It's all intelligent design. We put them down there.
Yeah, it just gives it a nice
That's what
quality.
Harry is, not Harry.
Michael.
Yeah. German, it's like German cups and German lenses.
Yeah.
Yeah, they seem to be good at that. This is where my lady comes from. She comes from Jena, which is the place Schott Engineering. They do glass, they make the glass there. And then the Zeiss factory is there as well. And then they made the first planetariums and things like that. That's a very complex optical thing. So they're right into, Jena is right into three-dimensional space, you know, it's kind of
Centre of the universe.
centre of it, yeah, it must be. Yeah.
As measured by humans. Anyway.
Yeah.
Funny.
I love old, those kind of old Victorian optics, like camera obscuras and stuff. Really bizarre.
I used to collect old cameras and stuff like that, but you move around and you well, they became useless because nobody uses film anymore.
It's hard, yeah. I've got one. I'm still looking.
She perseveres,
Yeah, you persevere with
We've
film
had 4
cameras.
albums developed.
Yeah.
I had to sell a kidney in the last couple of years, but
It's funny. I've got some nice shots, but it's hard. Like, and I've got a really long range lens, so if I try to take pictures of anything that is personable, then the shot is like not so great. But it's okay. It's quite fun, and the ones that are good are like really special, and the rest of them, whatever.
Yeah, so I feel that everybody who...
do you want a top up?
Yeah.
Just chuck us a cup, I'll make you a fresh one.
Oh, thank you.
There you go. Maybe spodek.
I like the cups.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I think that's the best word for saucer I've come across in all the languages. Polish is spodek.
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 Like a flying spodek.
Fine royal spodek.
Flying spodek.
Yeah, I know a lot of the people who study, people get interested in photography, they all have to do a film thing. They have to go through that process, you know, and a lot of them do black and white and stuff like that. I did black and white, and I started off on colour, but then I did black and white, so you could learn all about, you know...
Someone said black and white captures the soul of the subject rather than...
You can turn these digital ones to black and white, do black and white.
Is it cheating is the question.
Yeah, it's a bit weird to do, but yeah, it's good. It's, you know, if you feel like it. Sometimes I even do black and white movies, you know. It's like, yeah, if the thought occurs to me.
Very funny.
Oh, a cup of tea. These are almost like Art Deco, aren't they? With the kind of,
Yeah, fun, right? They're hotel ones. Our mate is a builder in Poland. He nicked them. Nicked them from a hotel. About 500 of them, and gave us a couple.
all right.
Yeah,
Do you want to top up?
No, I'm fine. Got plenty. But yeah, beautiful day. Beautiful day for it. Finally, didn't get that much work done today, but I will.
Oh, got loads, right? It's just it all went faster than we thought it would.
Yeah.
We've probably got enough.
This isn't glass, it's wood, so I'm going to cut a hole here so you can crawl through into the other cabin, and then it's all connected.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's it. But yeah, there's a load of storage here. It's really deep. Look, this that bilge down here is. So yeah, basically storage.
Yeah, it's a much more usable space than the other one I saw, the other aft cabin.
And a lot of gin fizz users just throw all their. They just use it as a storage locker.
Yeah, you can
it's a
put your
massive
sails.
storage
Good
locker.
place to chuck your sails if you pull it down, isn't it? I suppose.
But
you don't want it in the main cabin.
I'd use that side. So basically, I'd have a hole through here, so you've got access. You've got access to the fuel tank in the back of the engine.
Hot as blazes on this tin roof. Flipping heck.